from our studios in Kingstown, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. It's your favorite Thursday night show, Up Late with Sehon Marshall. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the host of tonight's show, Sehon Marshall.
All right, all right, all right. Good night, good night, good night. Wonderful Thursday night to you. It's the 7th of May, 7:38. What would it be? Yes, the 7th of May, 2026. It's Up with Sehon Marshall. I'm your host, Sehon Marshall. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we look forward to having a great conversation this evening with you. When you come on, as usual, I want you to just say where you're from, as you say good night, as you say hello, so that I can acknowledge you, as always, because as you know, this program would be absolutely nothing without you. Now, in my welcome, I want to say again, thank you to everyone who continue to support this program. As you're logging on, I'm asking you to like, to share, to subscribe. Now, tonight, I'm doing something very special, very, very special. So I don't have to be sharing. I met someone in Kingstown today who, again, and a number of individuals have said, listen, see, and when you start, I always start boom, 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 boom. This thing, you need to hire someone to do the sharing and so on. So you know what I've done tonight? Tonight, I've decided that I'm sharing it on all platforms. So right now, as we speak, Uplift with Sion Marshall is live on our YouTube channel. It's live on Uplift with Sion Marshall Facebook page, and it's also live on my personal Facebook page. So I ain't gonna show you nothing. Wherever you are, you're gonna see it. All right. So I hope you log on, and I hope you share it on your Facebook pages, wherever, so that other people can participate in this program tonight. Let me continue to thank you and show your appreciation for all those individuals who log on week after week, individuals who subscribe, who share, who like, who push the program to their friends. Thank you so much. It's because of you why our program continues to grow. It's because of you why the numbers on the program continue to rise steadily. All of our platforms are growing, and I owe this all to you. Those of you who are inclined to continue to contribute financially, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Somebody messaged me recently and asked me about the number on the screen. The number that you see on the screen, and from time to time throughout the program, the director would put it up. The number that you see, that's the number if you're in the US, if you're in Canada and you use Zelle, use that number and you'll be able to donate, to contribute to the program to ensure that it continues to stay on air. So the number is 347-941-8012. Tonight, I'm also making sure that you can send your WhatsApp messages to the program, and we would acknowledge your WhatsApp messages. So, again, during the night, throughout the night, the director would put that number for the local WhatsApp on this, well, for the WhatsApp on the screen, so wherever you are, the WhatsApp number, 784-491-9467. I noticed that individuals have been reaching out to that number throughout the week. That number is only active on Thursday night. So if you try to get it any other time, chances are you won't, because it's not a phone I carry around with me. It's not my personal phone. I don't carry it around with me. It's just for the program. So if you send a WhatsApp, I could see it eventually. But outside of that, if you try and make a call or something, or even if you send a WhatsApp, I'm not going to respond immediately, because it's not a phone that I have with me. It's just active for this time, Uplift with Sean Marshall, on a Thursday night, where you can send your messages, you can say hi, you could ask your questions, you could send your comments, and we will be able to engage with you using WhatsApp as we engage with you on the live. So I see Tammy and Ormand and Ormelita all on the program so far. So good night to all of you. Now, I want us to talk a little bit of politics tonight. I jumping straight in, and I see Ormelita is on Facebook. So Ormelita is happy to be doing her bit on Facebook. Now tonight, my YouTube numbers might suffer, but it's all right. My YouTube numbers might suffer, but it's all right. You know, all right. So I want us to talk about something: the politics of personal attacks. I want us to talk about the politics of personal attacks, because especially for those of you who live in the States, And for individuals who have been following what's going on in the States, you would see how words matter. And there's a big debate right now going on in the States about the rhetoric of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and the impact the rhetoric is having, continues to have on the population, on the issue of violence, on the issue of political violence, and so forth. And it's interesting, as from time to time, some of the big supporters, the biggest supporters of Donald Trump, are accusing Democrats of, not being the bigger person and not toning down the rhetoric. But none of them has been able or is willing to speak to the rhetoric of the president, the head, the highest office in the land, the commander in chief, as they call it, Donald Trump. And the debate rages on as to the impact of that type of rhetoric against immigrants, against black and brown people, against uh, people LGBTQ, and so on and so forth. I believe that we are seeing an emergence of that in our society, where very strident political rhetoric, very strident political rhetoric, and the rhetoric is coming from the leaders themselves, is filtering down into our daily discourse. And it is becoming dangerous. Individuals will want to play innocent and ignore what impact it may or may not have. But I believe it is having and will continue to have a significant impact on our daily discourse. Now, within recent times, with different type of violent activities happening, you have violence in schools, you have uh, homicides happening, and so forth. The debate talks about individuals' willingness to settle dispute, to compromise. It seems that everyone wants to fight. The first resort is to fight. As a lawyer who's in the criminal division of the high court, who's in the magistrate court, and so forth, I see it all the time. Individuals brought up on wounding charges, uh, actual bodily harm, grievous bodily harm, attempted murder, and so forth. People seem unwilling to settle disputes peacefully. But we have to look at some of the areas that contribute to this. And we would always hear the saying, uh, um, correlation is not causation. And that is true. So that I'm not suggesting that one thing caused the other, but we have to look at whether or not these things influence each other, or at least one influences the other. And once we see that, we must be willing to call it out. Now, it is no secret that I have been critical of the New Democratic Party, even in its opposition, in the opposition in Parliament, with the way it conducted itself. In Parliament, the leaders of the party, the parliamentarians, were aggressive or disrespectful, very often defying the rules of the speakers of the House. And I'm talking about all of them, whether it's Jomo Thomas, Hendrik Alexander, Rochelle Ford, Carlos James. Very aggressive. We've heard on their programs very insightful rhetoric as well. People calling, making certain comments, and very often zero guidance from the host and others in studio. I can't forget, for example, when in a public meeting hosted by E.G. Lynch, he was chastising Ken Boy at the time, who they weren't pleased with. And he remarked, if Ken Boy pass, say, no, I kick him in the face. we go back to the years when Daniel Cummins, very prominent Vincentian individual, even before he got into politics, active politics, bragged about disturbing a church service, throwing rocks on the building while the church was going on, and then walking into the church, walking up to the pulpit, allegedly, and disturbing the church service. So I've always been critical of their actions, their attitudes, their statements, their comments while in opposition. I don't know how many individuals remember there was a public meeting and Daniel Cummins was at the podium. Uh, and he went on a tirade after the then Speaker of the House, Hendrick Alexander. Now, this was the time when he had named them and they had to leave the House. They were quote unquote thrown out of the House forcefully, right? Right. And I remember him just how is it? Hendrick, Bendrick, something, something. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. I don't know how many persons remember that. To me, that looked and sounded like a threat. What do you mean you're coming for me? Or you're going for him? But he issued what I thought was a very thinly veiled threat. But one of the things I question even now is the way we allow those things to happen did nothing. So sometimes you wonder why you're talking now, because he did it back then when he was in the parliament. At the time, the statements were not made in parliament. It was a street meeting, and we didn't do anything. So you get a sense that things happened while they were in opposition, and they were allowed to get away with it. I don't know if how many individuals remember the protest that they were having when Sinclair Leacock plainly stated that we are taking the peaceful out of the protest. Now, everyone, our constitutional laws give people the right to protest peacefully. That's a right that you have. You have the freedom of assembly and so forth. But when you take the peaceful out of the protest, then it becomes a riot. It becomes a riot. And today, you can still look back at the events of that day to see rioters pulling down the barricade, confronting police officers, and so forth, completely ignoring the instructions, the orders, the lawful orders of police officers. We saw that. It was around that same time one of the rioters threw a stone and almost killed the prime minister, the then prime minister. So the propensity for violence has always been there, and it had always been in ascension. It's like it was hitting a crescendo. It was inching up, inching up, inching up, inching up. It was building up, and that's why I believed, I firmly believe that had the NDP not won the elections of 2025, there would have been riots in the country because it was at a boiling point. Good night, Sister Edwards. Right? And I see other people saying good night, Epsi and Latoya, Kondo Mason Cornis, and all of the others. Is that Arissa Lewis and so forth, right? OTR promotion, all of you. Thank you so much for joining. Keep sharing the live, right? I'm not even sure what the numbers look like in total, but I'm sure because they're all over. So I have no doubt that individuals are logging on Facebook and so forth because now they have that opportunity. They can try and fight up with the YouTube. You know what I mean? Right. So let me see this here. We have a few minutes, Steve. Don't worry. Just double checking a few things. Yes. So the thing about it is this. Thing about it is this. I believe that had they not won, we would have problems. We would have problems. But they won. And they won, and there was what is referred to as a peaceful transfer of power. A peaceful transfer of power. But even though they won and there was a peaceful transfer of power, the supporters and the elected members and the leadership of the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines seems unhappy. They seem unhappy. They are continuously cursing and arguing as if they lost. And I find something to be so strange. Here's what I find to be strange. They still continue to call the name of Ralph Gonsalves. Now, that is something I can't figure out. In opposition, they campaigned on Ralph's name and they won. But now you're government, and they're still campaigning on Ralph's name. No, people, go out and do the work. Go out and do the work. And even though they're in government now, they still continue to display the same level of disrespect, of aggression, and so forth in the parliament against their very own speaker. Now, I'm getting into something just now, because I just setting up I laying the platform so that you could see what going. So when I start to put the structure, the foundation is solidly laid. So you still see the disrespect in the parliament. Interestingly, they have decided to use the large mandate that they have been given. They have decided to use that mandate as a reason to bully people, to antagonize people, to attack people. It seems that winning an overwhelming mandate in the minds of the NDP supporters who had been in opposition for a very long time means I now have the right to silence you. And they have no problem seeking to silence you in the most aggressive ways. Most aggressive ways. But they're following the leader. What is happening on social media and in the media is not random. It is the part of a larger plan orchestrated by the leadership of the NDP that their followers are taking the hint from. I want you to get me on that one. These followers didn't get up one day and decide, oh, we're going to do X, Y, or Z. Their leaders gave them the go-ahead. Their leaders set the blueprint. And so as a result, they have decided now that they're going to follow the leader, and attack good, hardworking people. In 2001, when the ULP came to office, Dr. Gonzalez was Prime Minister then and said, during the campaign, the slogan was Labor now. The elections are over. It's together now. The NDP rejected that. They rejected that through a candidate, Ruth Woods, who had lost against Gomery Daniel. She said, we want it together now. We go stay ULP, they go stay. We go stay NDP, they go stay ULP. We want it together now. And for 24 years plus, the focus of the NDP was to keep its base in an agitated condition, in a condition of heightened aggression, so as to ensure that their base stayed. So they pushed a narrative that kept their base constantly angry and upset with the government. They always had to pick someone to channel their anger towards, their hatred towards. And so it was, of course, Dr. Gonzalez was always the one at the top. But anyone associated with the ULP and is associated with the ULP felt the ire of the venom, the hatred of the supporters of the NDP. They, they, they had no stomach for anything. I'm talking about individuals who were benefiting from the policies of the government, but were so angry with the government, were so incensed based on the rhetoric of their party that they found no love for the government, even though the government showed them love. And so they couldn't see the love. They couldn't accept it as love. I guess because they don't know what love is. Because all they knew was anger. I about the name Joby. Remember the name? His name is Joseph, mind you. My brother Joseph. We say Buddy, so Buddy and Joby, right? So Joseph, my brother, supports the NDP. And I would sit down and watch Dr. Friday's conference. It's hard to listen to. I mean, he is hard to listen to. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way, but anybody who understand oratory skills, good orators, would agree that Dr. Godwin Friday is just difficult to listen to. But I listen to him anyway. I've listened to the deputy prime minister on his programs. He too is difficult to listen, but for a different reason than Dr. Friday, you know. But my brother Joseph, anyhow Ralph came on TV, Joseph sucked his teeth, just turn off the TV, Joe be angry with Ralph. Oh, Ralph, dear Joby, what has Dr. Gonzalez done to you? So I'm saying that to say this, I'm getting somewhere now. When I hear Sinclair Leacock talk about somebody pouring poison in the system, hey, my mouth dropped and I had to pick it up with a shovel off the ground. When I heard Sinclair Leacock make the comment that somebody, and he was referring to Dr. Gonzalez, is pouring poison. The NDP poured poison into the hearts and minds of their supporters for the last 25 years. That is with hate. That is why even in victory, they can't enjoy the victory. Because now, listen, you hate the man because he's prime minister and he's the other government. Oh God, now he's the leader of the opposition. You are government. Focus on loving your party and loving your government. No, they can't even take the time to love their party and love up their government to make sure it does well. They still have to focus on hate. Because that's all they know. Because the poison of hate has been poured into their cup for the last 20-something years by people like Leacock and Cummins and the others. So I found it hilarious, at the same time vexing, that someone like Leacock has the gall. I ain't gonna use no big word. I ain't gonna use no big word tonight. I ain't gonna use a big word. Has the gall to talk about somebody pouring poison in the system. Leacock can't be for real. But clearly he is. And he has people following him. He has people following him. You see, Dr. Gonzalez pouring poison in the system. Leacock. So I find it hypocritical. I find it dishonest that somehow Sinclair Leacock, the Prime Minister in audition, is having a problem with the opposition doing its work. Because that's what it is, you know. That is simply what it is. There's a problem with the opposition doing its work. But the opposition got to work. He said in Parliament recently, and all you might laugh at this, but it ain't funny. He said, I can't read all the comments, but my director's doing a very good job highlighting them. So, you know, we're highlighting them for you. He said that Dr. Gonzalez can't put himself aside. It's all about him, and his only intention is to see the NDP government do one term. I don't know if the Honorable Minister thought about that statement before he uttered it. I don't know if the Honorable Minister does think at all before he utters. But I remember in St. Martin's, I don't know how many of my schoolmates from St. Martin's are on the live. But I remember I had a teacher named Mr. Saka. And Saka used to say, before you put your mouth in motion, put your brain in gear. I think Leacock brain transmission mash up. I think the transmission mash up. He says that the only interest Dr. Gonzalez has is to see the NDP do one term. But let me remind Leacock of something. When Labour won in 2001, the interest of the NDP in metamorphosis, mind you, was to see, because they said it, that the government would only last 6 months. How much I remember that? They said the government will only last 6 months. Their interest was to see the ULP administration that took office in 2001 last 6 months. Then, after 6 months passed, they gave us an extension. They gave the ULP an extension, and they said, you know what? All it will last 1 year. So they weren't even interested in seeing the ULP last one term. It was for 6 months, then it was 1 year. Because remember, according to the NDP back in 2001, the ULP didn't win the elections. It was all sorts of things. It was roadblock and this and that and so forth. So don't worry, they ain't gonna last. I gave them 6 months. That was what they gave us for us. Vestina, don't run ahead of me, please. Do not run ahead of me. I come into that, Vestina. I come into that. Then they give you extension. They say, I will last 1 year. And then they said, we will only last one term. They, because of that, refer to Dr. Gonzalez as one term papa. They even did a campaign song about it, one term papa. There is even an NDP campaign song referring to Dr. Gonzalez as a one-term papa because their interest was to see the ULP solve one term. Sinclair Leacock has a problem with that today. Sinclair Leacock, the Prime Minister in audition, the man who is aggressively and now even more publicly and overtly seeking to undermine Godwin Friday. But that's their business. That's their business. That's their business. I have no issue, nothing with the hierarchy of the party. Who are undermine. As a matter of fact, instead of focusing on calling public servants about undermining, Friday need to look at who undermining he in the party. But as I said, that ain't my business. That ain't my business. That ain't my business. That ain't my business. They call Dr. Gonzalez one term papa. But all of a sudden, today, under this new NDP, or as used to be said by a man who was my mother's very good friend, who's now passed, refer to him as Slider, Mr. Mackenzie, as you say, in this new NDP, it's an aberration for the opposition to be seeking to unseat the government within a single term. I mean, you see what's going on? Y'all see what's going on? So apparently, Labour is supposed to hold their hands in Kumbaya, my lord, do nothing like they did, and allow them to serve 25 years in government. Because the truth is, the NDP was an ineffective opposition, and that is the reason they are so woeful in government, because they learned nothing in opposition. They did not prepare themselves while in opposition, and so now they are in government, they are unable to govern because they learned nothing. It's almost like the story in the Bible about the foolish virgins. While in opposition, they didn't ensure that they had oil in the lamp. And how you get making sure you get oil in the lamp? That you study this thing. That you study how policy formulation. That you try and understand how the public service works. That you try and focus on governance issues. Instead, it's comesting. And the tail, metaphorically, wagging the dog. So now they're in government. The tail is still wagging the dog. The NDP is run on Facebook. When one Facebook HR personnel puts something on Facebook, the NDP falls in line. They say fire this person, they look to fire them. They say hire this person, they look to hire them. We will talk about that too. I am calling on Dr. Friday to fire this person. I am calling on Dr. Friday to fire this person on Facebook. That's how it's done now, you know. That's how it's done. They did not take the time to prepare for governance while they were in opposition. And so now in government, they are woeful. It is laughable, some of the excuses I hear from their supporters regarding the IMF. They say, oh, I actually heard Luke on Hot 97 say that we shouldn't listen to Dr. Gonzalez because he's the reason we are in this state. Apparently, Dr. Gonzalez, who's in opposition, is the reason why we're going to the IMF. And the reason why we're going to the IMF is because Dr. Gonzalez borrowed money while he was in government. But Friday don't borrow money in 5 months. If borrowing is the problem, if borrowing money is the problem, and we have Bramble saying and admitting, listen, the money that we borrowed, you just have to borrow. If they had deposit in office, we wouldn't have borrowed any different. We wouldn't do it differently because we need the money. If borrowing is the problem, and borrowing is the reason why the economy is in a failed state shape, and you cleaning up things, the first thing you will do is borrow $20 million US. But borrowing is the problem. So what is the difference between the US borrowing $20 million to do some river defense, some sea defense, climate change issues, and so forth, and you borrowing 20 million US dollars. Tell me the difference. But you have people trying to make the excuse, oh, it's because of Ralph and Labour borrowing. I saw a post a man say, what about the 300 million, the $3 billion in debt that we have, and all they have is an airport and a port? Really? Hey, I've said it before, the level of stupidity that's been exposed now, the more people type and talk and so forth, it's astounding. It really makes me question what's happening to the education revolution all along. Is it that some people didn't take advantage of it at all? Or that some focused primarily on certification and not education? Which is it? Because, hey, the more some people type and the more some people talk, me shame. Me shame. So the NDP in office now, they tell people give them a chance, people give them a chance. They pointed out all of the things that were wrong with St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And my position is clear. You campaigned on them, you knew what the issues were, you pointed them out to the Vincentian public, and you told the Vincentian public, give me a chance, I know how to fix it. The Vincentian population say, hey, I believe you, I buy your argument, fix it. Fix it. You knew it all, You in Parliament. You were only criticizing. Everything that we spent came to Parliament by way of bills. So you know what we were worrying. You know the rate of interest. You know what was going to be done. What was going to be done with it. You know. You see, borrowing too much. That was a criticism. Talk about crime. That was a criticism. Talk about healthcare. That was a criticism. As a matter of fact, you kept saying that our hospital was a morgue. And in all of this, and I want all to follow me now. In all of this, they had public servants who, for whatever reason, thought, I will give information to the NDP. That is why when it's a New Times program or whatever, on Facebook or wherever, you had people's contracts, you had different things being done. Because people within the system felt that they had a duty to put things in the public space. And they did. They did. People felt that they had a duty to share things with the general public that they felt the public needed to know. So they would hand things to, they saw that NDP activist, they saw that NDP radio personal, they saw that in the NDP parliamentarian. I can't remember, and maybe someone out there can, and so I would not tell you it didn't happen. Just remind me. I can't remember any minister in the ULP cussing out public servants about undermining and undermining and undermining and undermining. I can't remember that. And when you go in the public service, since it's small, we know who people be. People are wear their colors big. People support their party. And it was widely believed that there were individuals who were friendly to the NDP who were sabotaging and undermining the ULP administration. I remember one time Storm Gonsalves put out a long Facebook post about it, and he was taken to task by the morning radio people. Boom, radio, Hot 97. They felt that, come on, Storm threatening people. I remember that. I highlighted. Well, immediately after the election, when things started to, because remember now, things started to unravel with this NDP administration real early. Let me put this in front of me so we could see clearly, because I find if I put it here, so I might be able to and me director highlight it, I go see it and so on. So yes, I will be ready. So I'll leave it right there. Right? Remember, things started to unravel early because the unrealistic promises came to a head. Remember, they promised things like VAT free on the first Monday, and all kind of things they promised. None of them happened, right? Right. So it started to unravel early, and the response immediately was, "Let me start to deny it. Let me start to deny. No, we never said so. That wasn't what we promised. That wasn't what we promised." I honestly, there was nothing to undermine because things were going. Well, I only think is they tried, People are trying to do their things, but the train kept moving because, like you said, things were in place, the processes were there to think, and people just did their work. People tried. I'm sure people tried. That's why they were leaking this and leaking that and so on to try and create unrest. But things start to unravel early. And so, to try and pull the party base together, they decided to go on a retribution tour where they would go around the country and have these public meetings they call town hall. But this was really a time for the supporters to vent and cuss and blame the opposition for everything, right? Because the opposition just gone out of office now, so let me blame the opposition for everything. It was during this period you heard the very famous words from Kishore Shallow that the treasury was empty. Treasury that just give away, just give away $22 million in bonus. Kishore said it's empty. As my schoolmate Grant Connell said on one of the programs, you buy 3 brand new Prado, $100 something. $100 something. Eh? But it's all right. You don't have money for nothing else. But you could buy 3 brand new Prado. 3 brand new Prado. 3 brand new Prado. So things start to fall apart very, very, very quickly. And the first response was, let me deny it. But eventually, they couldn't deny it because it was out there. And so they decided they were going to start to just lie. They were going to start to just lie. They were going to start to just lie. So they lied. They lied. And then they went about on the retribution rallies, and people start to vent and call Ralph name and they start to vent. Kishore the treasury empty. In Baga, one NDP supporter start to say the NDPs need to remove Labour supporters and put NDP supporters in the positions. That was the discourse. That was what was happening. Your incompetence is showing, so you have to deflect. And how do you deflect? You deflect by start scapegoating people. I want my producer my director to put up on the screen the WhatsApp number so you could start to send in WhatsApp messages. And also, director put up the Zelle number every now and again so that they could know with the Zelle their contributions. No contribution is too small, and none is too big. So you could send it. So this is the WhatsApp number, 491-9465-784, of course, the area code. Right? So you could send a WhatsApp message and I'll try and read it on here as much as possible. So they start to deflect. And how do they deflect? They deflect by blaming people. Nothing was going right, nothing was happening, and it wasn't because of the lack of preparedness of the NDP. It was because, like my sister Gemma say, Trump still blaming Biden. It was because of Labour fault. But that was getting tired. Because Ralph is no longer prime minister, so they started to get tired. Ralph. So they started to point now onto public servants. As it was around that time now, let me not say around that time. I believe this is where it all started. I believe that the meeting between Minister Cupid and Minister Bramble ignited the movement of public service attack. I believe that ignited the movement. I want to listen to Minister Bramble at one of the retribution rallies, where he took a broadside on public servants. Mr. Bramble.
And I am saying categorically, who vexes their problem. If there's any public servant who is acting outside of their professional responsibility, whether intentional or not, to undermine the New Democratic Party government, they will not be there. Plain and simple. You can't be there. And I know the leader of the opposition come and talk about, civil service orders and ministers can't hire and fire and all this sort of stuff. The buck stops with us. The people elected us to do their business. And if there are persons in the government service employed as public servants who are going to be derelict in their duty because the civil service orders clearly indicates how you should conduct yourself as a public servant. If you go outside of that, there must be consequences. Come on. We need to stop hiding behind this nonsense about, NDP going to victimize. Nobody victimizing anybody. If you go and undermine our government, there will be consequences. Plain and simple. End the story.
You hear the passion or the anger? I know what it is. Now, to many, I believe Bramble is probably the worst thing right now. Right? Worst thing. Just yapping. And I hope, anyway, let me not talk about that. So according to Bramble, any public servant who undermining the government, there will be consequences. But what are the consequences though? Plain and simple, you ain't care who have X. Words are consequences, Bramble. And people listening to you. People listening to you. And so all of a sudden, it's public servants' fault. 2 days ago, I did tongue, and I meet my partner, Chainsaw. People probably won't know who Chainsaw be. Interesting name, right? Chainsaw say, boy, me walk to tongue. If me pelt a stone in tongue, me not chop a soul, because nobody know your tongue. Lady tell me, boy, me not bounce, me not bout up on a soul at tongue. I believe robbery in Kingston, dong. Because nobody knows that for rob. But that's a good thing, by the way. Yeah? That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Listen, Kingston is empty. I remember the days when I was press secretary. Even last year, when I'm picking up my daughter and so forth. And if I don't get out of town before 3 o'clock, 3:30, I would say before 3:30 minutes to 4, get out of town. Listen to the worst thing, because once you see you leaving town about 4:30, after 4:30, it is taking you 45 minutes to get from high school bus stop to the tarmac. 45 minutes. You're in traffic going up Sally Springs, you're in traffic going up Sand Hill, you're in traffic going down Sand Hill, the vans them spinning around and go down Roseau. It's just so much traffic. Yesterday, it took me 12 minutes from high school bus stop to Boom Boom. 12. I left high school bus stop 4:38, and by 4:50, I was coming up Boom Boom. 12 minutes. No exaggeration. No exaggeration. The place just slow. You can't blame public service because tongue dead. You ain't doing nothing. You're not doing anything to generate and stimulate the economy. Dr. Gonzalez and the other members of the opposition warned us in the parliament during the budget debate that the budget is a no-growth budget. I see somebody send a message there. Is it a message? All right. Well, somebody sent me a message saying 14-1 means 14 NDP candidates getting one term. I said that a long time ago. You know what somebody else said? Somebody said 14-1, 14 ounces versus 1 pound. Lord, but these people are creative. So Bramble started the thing. Recently, I saw, I don't know if the director could put it up there, I saw a headline in newspaper where Leacock now is issuing an ultimatum to public servants. I said that for you. I don't know if you have it. If you have it, put it up for me, please. Leacock issuing an ultimatum to public servants. So everything now is public servants. The thing says St. Vincent Deputy Prime Minister Sinclair Leacock has delivered a sharp warning to senior public servants, demanding strict loyalty to the Dr. Friday administration and accusing the leader of the opposition of, so now we're trying to sabotage the government agenda. What I mean? Oh my God. Listen, I said before, you got information leaked to you or sent to you or however you want to take it while you were in opposition. Expect the opposition to get the same treatment. Expect the opposition to get the same treatment. They're going to get things sent to them too. They are going to get things sent to them too. And you got to deal with it, bro. Because you can't fire everybody. And the more you fire, is the more it happens because they go see you ruthless and wicked. And they're taking third on poor people, trying to accuse them of not pulling their weight. Give them a policy to drive and they're going to drive it. You are loyalty to Friday and you, NDP. You are loyalty to your party, not to the government. Because if you want loyalty to the government as in Grenadians, you will remember and understand that the opposition in the parliament is also a part of the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Yeah? But maybe you don't know that. Maybe you don't know that. So, you see where the attack is coming from. And they're broad. Public servants. You know, anybody who sabotage, undermine, those are the strong words. Now, that is driving something into the minds of their, remember that their supporters want to channel their anger at someone or something. They have always had, for the last 25 years, from 2001 to November of 2025, they have always had someone to channel their anger towards. Ralph Gonsalves. And anybody associated with Ralph Gonsalves, they were able to channel their anger towards those people. But Ralph is no longer in government. So now, the ministers of government are now causing or are throwing the public servants under the bus and making them the object of the anger and the resentment of their supporters. And so now, their supporters are taking the lead, and they've now started to turn on public servants. I saw a post accusing the PS in housing of meeting with former Minister Brewster every Sunday in housing. I'm sure that's a lie. I'm positive it's a lie. I'm positive it's defamation. Now, there's an NDP celebrity, brainless, dunce, but somehow he provides leadership to the NDP. He's part of the. He provides direction to the NDP. I want the director put on the picture of the celebrity. He's seen with the highest at the highest levels of the party. Highest level of the party. When you embrace this is the poison that Leacock should be talking about. The Monday who Friday hugging up. The Monday who Friday hugging up. Can't remember his name. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey something. Can't remember his name. Right? Can't remember his name. He's a Jeffrey. Right? Providence. Yes. Sorry, Dave. Maybe it was a slip of the tongue and not the mind, cause Yeah, sad. Anyhow, I don't know. But yeah. Highly regarded within the NDP. Seen as a celebrity in the NDP. And clearly, the NDP sends their information to him, and he has heft and say in the NDP. He clearly instructs them. Started attacking two sisters. I put up the post, I'm director. The two posts of the sisters he attacking. This is the NDP, eh? This is the NDP. Remember, it started with Leacock and Bramble and so forth, attacking public servants, pointing them, making them the object of the hate of their supporters. So it's time for the NDP to kick out Luke's sister and Sabota's sister. Two qualified individuals. Luke's sister, qualified woman, permanent secretary. Sabota's sister. Sister, yes, but qualified. Don't talk about who's sister and daughter and wife and baby mother and so on. No. Let them stop. Those sisters and wife and baby mother and so on who are appointed after the end of the NDP, they could stop. Wife and sister, baby mother, girlfriend, side chick, brother, uncle, tanty. No problem. But qualified professionals, like the PS in tourism, was a PhD. The registrar of the High Court, qualified, trained lawyer, kick them out. As Jill asking, they never been chance. So time, but you notice that the attacks on the public servants started getting direct and personal. So now it started with Bramble, with the venom. I don't care. There must be consequences. I don't care what nobody say. There must be consequences. Public servants in general. Same thing with Leacock. Public servants has to be consequences. Resign, leave. So what if I don't leave? What are you going to do if I don't leave? You're going to kick me out? Well, the broad and general statements weren't enough. So we start to get personal. About 2 weeks ago, the focus of the attack shifted. And my good friend, you see, a lot of you don't know, and when Sinclair Leacock, who has zero credibility on this matter, goes to Clay Valley, don't know whether Nadia live there and don't know whether Jane is the auntie, mommy, or cousin and so on, but just talking. Zero credibility. Zero. Right? Pronounce that it had nothing to do with politics. Now, he might be right, but I'm going to bring you some information tonight, and you can make up your mind what's going on. Correlation is not causation, but I'm going to show you something tonight. Correlation is not causation, but I'm going to show you something tonight. So Likak say it and for the politics. But 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks. But a week ago, starting on the 30th of April, I show me Slater 1, director. On the 29th of April, the Facebook HR of the NDP posted, "Gongs to get rid of Nadia Slater. NDP, stop pussyfooting with these ULP people who is still in position to undermine you." I'm reading it. So who is? I wouldn't say who is. People who is. Right. But as I tell you, brainless, mindless dunce. One person who taught him said, "See, and listen to me, them boy, they when them go to school, all them do I head up the name. From the time they head up the name, them look wrong, they got nothing else." 1 week ago, on the 30th of April. On the 29th of April. The 29th of April, May 1st was what? Friday? So the 29th was Wednesday. Last week Wednesday. Put it back up, director. Last week Wednesday. The attack was direct. The Facebook attack was direct at Nadia Slater. Put it back up again, please. Put it back up again, please. Okay, we not see them there. We not understand what the picture, right? Say NDP time to get rid of Nadia Slater. All the pussyfooting with these people who undermining all you. Get rid of Nadia Slater. That was the instruction of the NDP celebrity who they hug up with Friday, and who seems to be director that the image didn't come out, ain't showing at all. They just Japanese side about it ain't showing. There's nothing. The image itself ain't showing. Right. So what the people them seeing on thing ain't showing nothing there. Right. The attack came clear 1 week ago, Wednesday. I am making it an NDP. Listen, I'm wrapping it up under the NDP arm. Bramble attacking public servants. Friday attacking public servants. Even people in the public service union attacking public servants. Because I already bought you how this person and that person will get fired. And he's the head of the public service union. You want to try public and put it up again, please, because I want still insured properly. I know what I'm name with it. Because it showed properly first time, but it didn't show properly this time. So that was the first one last week, Wednesday. The individual named Nadia Slater and is instructing the NDP to move swiftly to get rid of she because she's undermining the government. Now, remember, Bramble don't say, if you do it, there'll be consequences. But what are those consequences? And if you don't move or resign, what consequences are you open to? A few days later, he posted another post, again, directed at Nadia Slater. Again, this wasn't general. This wasn't open. This wasn't ambiguous. This was plain, straight, directed at Nadia Slater. I ain't see it yet, director. I ain't see it yet. Number 2. Anybody know if you help Nadia Slater who love Rallo? That's how the individual usually refers to Ralph. And carry news to Rallo, still have a job at the API, move her and save the embarrassment. So the first one was the 20th of April, last week, Wednesday. So last week, Wednesday, he tell them time to move Nadia because she undermined all you. On Thursday, Nadia again, move her and save the embarrassment because she carried news to Ralph. Now remember, they hate Ralph. They hate Labour. And here you have, according to them, Nadia Slater, who carrying news to Ralph. and undermining the NDP. And they're angry. They don't like that. You're undermining my NDP. You're undermining my government. You're making me look bad. Karen News Giralf. So that's last week Thursday. You notice how the thing bubble up, it's bubbling up, it's getting higher, getting higher. So it was general public servants. But then certain individuals decide, I will just start say public servants. I would identify public servants who I believe undermine the government and carrying news Giralf and making me look bad. I will point them out to the people. Yeah. Next one. So the 30th of April. The 30th of April. There's one more. There's one more. So on the weekend, he posted breaking news. School children just told me Nadia Slater from the API has gone on leave. Yes, yes, yes. Bye-bye. Now, you heard initially that she was sent on leave. Nothing was made. Nothing was mentioned of that. Let me do this now because I want my producer to make sure put this up. Right? My producer to make sure put this up. Where is it now? I want you to see. I look. I don't have to read and spell for you. I begin a higher sense. But I just pointing out certain things that started happening last week. Now, mind you, Nadia Slater has been at the API for as long as I know. Right? Nadia Slater has been at the API for as long as I know. And all of a sudden, Nadia Slater is embarrassment. Right? Nadia Slater is embarrassment. Hold on there. So you have people coming on. I'm going to send something to my producer immediately. Thank God for the technology. Right? So you have something last week, Wednesday. Time for NDP move Nadia from the API because she can't use, she undermining the NDP. Stop pussyfoot. Move them. That's Wednesday. Thursday. Nadia who does carry news for Ralph and so on. Move she. Weekend. I hear Nadia get sent pan leave. Bye-bye. Tuesday. This is Tuesday. Less than 1 week later. I want to read it there. API head. Well, attacked in her own house. API head. Nadia Slater. The same person who has been accused publicly by the NDP of undermining the government, of carrying news for Ralph, of sabotaging the NDP. 1 week later. I ain't say. I just outlining you the facts as they are. Right, people? I can't say me lie. I am outlining you the facts as they are. In January, Bramble started to cost public servants, telling them that if they undermine the government, there'll be consequences, blah, 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 blah. I'll show you the tape. Leacock had said something before that, and I was looking for the tape wholly, but I couldn't find it. He had said something too. Then last week, one of the most prominent celebrities in the NDP started an attack on Nadia Slater, someone who they deemed to be undermining the NDP administration. They say no ordinary man in the NDP. You see him with the Prime Minister. You see him with the Prime Minister in cabinet room. It's no ordinary man. He gets all the news. He knows what's happening. He tells you who to hire, who to fire. And last week, Wednesday, let me count. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday night. 6 days. 6 days after he started identifying and pointing out with regularity Nadia Slater as someone undermining the government, embarrassing the government, carrying news to Ralph. 6 days later, what's the consequences? Words have consequences. And when you put people, Nadia is a public servant. She is free to support your party like you and others. Eh? That's the same man who calling for my childhood friend Brenton Smith to be made commissioner of police. But Brenton is a public servant. So how come Brenton could be police and general secretary of the NDP and so on and so on, and it's okay. But Nadia, who is a public servant, can't support your party. What happened? It's only one that could support a party in this country. Or? No. I see Brenton Smith will become ACP. Brenton Smith is my friend. And when I say friend, all we grew up in Montrose together. When I was going to Stony Brook School, all we used to play football by Faith Temple Patch. And no Brenton. When he's confirmed as ACP, I will congratulate him and I'll wish him well. I will congratulate him and I'll wish him well. But Brenton, when I first thing as ACP is to lock up Jeffrey Providence when he come here. One of the first thing he's supposed to do. Because he can't be maligning people like that on social media. Inciting violence against people, in my view. And so now, people have all kind of, oh, sorry for Nadia. I hope she has speedy recovery, and so on. Stop it. Stop it. And I see people are already being nominated to take over Nadia. Well, she's acting, so she's not confirming the post. But I see people are already being nominated to fill the position, to be repatriated from wherever they and brought to fill the position. I attack him. I send hateful rhetoric towards her. He get beat up, and while I want somebody else, he walk. Wow, what a government! What a government! Then you have the Minister of National Security. Listen, this guy is such a waste of time here, man. This guy is such a waste of time. Absolute and utter waste of time. And I'm strident on that one. I'm strong on that one. I saw in the papers, on the blogs, that someone has been arrested and charged with attempted murder. I've heard different opinions expressed. Oh, this must be a speedy trial. This, that. Listen, as an officer of the court, the man is entitled to due process, and the facts will be presented. That's it. As much as Nadia is my friend, my good friend, I am able to say, on the other hand, the individual. And by the way, let me tell you something, Last week, Monday, not yesterday, Monday, last week, Monday or Tuesday, myself and a colleague, we called Ming in Clare Valley. And she said, man, I have fish. So come. And we jumped in the vehicle and we went to Clare Valley and we sat down and we had some fried fish. That young man was there sitting with us under the shed, all of us talking. Cool young man. That same young man. While you were there, Ming called Nadia and said, look, watch this Clare Valley, see the Clare Valley. Nadia was still at work. I'm talking after 6. She was still at work, after 6 p.m. And that has always been her. Leave early, go early, leave late, weekends, whatever. She's there. She's doing her work. Anyway, I see some people promoting some lazy, incompetent people to go there. Listen to me. Anyhow. So, Ning say, see, I'm in Clay Valley. But it was getting late. I had my little daughter with me. So, good night going from Canada. I say, man, we can't wait for Nadia. But when we reach Moreline Hill, those of you who are not from down there, you're going to talk about. I'm a Clay Valley man. When we reach Moreline Hill, Nadia passed in a vehicle going to Clay Valley. But I was already coming home. Actually, me even stayed in Camden Park by Ashai, me bling day, lime a little bit and so on before I came home. And Nadia went exactly to by Ming shop where we left, and the young man was there, and they stayed there for a little while and lime a little bit and so on. That's last week Monday. So as recently as last week Monday, there was no bad beef. There was no family feud, as some were trying to suggest in the media and on radio. Family feud, family feud. None. Because I know that when Nadia, I was told this, when Nadia came down, we weren't there, but she stayed there with Ming and the same young man was there and so on and so on. No family feud, no beef. That's Monday. But by Wednesday, the post start. Get rid of Nadia. All the pussyfoot around these people who undermining and so the same words used by Sinclair Liquor, same words used by Bramble and so on, are the words used by their supporters in attacking public servant, undermining and sabotage. And what that doing? That's driving hate and resentment towards those hardworking public servants. So I'm sure he started the assault and others, these people shared it. If you look, people shared the post, so the post was shared, but we shared and so forth. And Nadia, the public servant of many, many years, became the subject of an attack, of a physical attack in her own house. In her own house. Nadia can't fight. But when I tell you, the leaders lead. The leaders lead. The leaders set the pace. The leaders set the agenda. And their followers follow. You must either leave or we will get rid of you. There are consequences. And that's where St. Vincent the way this is now. If you are seen not friendly, as long as you did not support politically the party, you are viewed as anti-government. You understand? Once their thing is, you didn't vote NDP, so you can't work for government because you go sabotage the government. So apparently, like Jill was saying earlier, you're not a Vincentian anymore. You are not entitled to any of the services and the privileges and so on of being a Vincentian because you didn't vote NDP. So the idea is Let me move you out now. Let me move you out now. Let me attack you now. Let me generate some public scrutiny and some public condescent. Listen, man. You see, I custom to it now. I custom to it because I've been in the media for a long time. I was in the media when people who been working NCB take me information and put it on nice radio. When a man who I know for how much thing take me business information and have me business information pan tap nice radio, save me now no business. Everything I did. I was on radio. I get a contract. They put the information on. And I'm talking 2009, 2010. They've been doing it all the time. They've done it to me. So all of a sudden now they have a problem with things being leaked or given or shared. How my personal banking information reach on Nice Radio, on NDP website, on Nice Radio website. How my business information reach there. I'm a public individual. I took a public post. I was the press secretary at the office of the Prime Minister. That's a public post. I got scrutinized. I got criticized. That's okay. I can deal with it. But it seems that those who dished out the greatest criticism while in opposition can now not handle criticism as part of a government. And so they are attacking every and anyone who they perceive did not vote. It has nothing to do with government. It has to do with politics. If you didn't vote NDP, then you are against the government. There is zero division between NDP and the government. So they're not interested in public servants. They are interested in NDP supporters. And that is why when they started the retribution meetings early, that was what you were hearing. Put NDP supporters in these positions. Because it's not a public service anymore. It's no longer, the NDP has won the elections, and so they're going to transform the public service to the NDP council, the NDP general body. So fire everybody who didn't vote for NDP. Because you can't tell me that as a Vincentian, I voted Labour, I celebrated Labour, I campaigned for Labour, but I don't me work. I will vote for Labour when I will have it so. I was a public servant doing my work, and I will continue to do my work. Let me do my work. But like somebody said a while ago, the cyberbullying, the intimidation, you can't attack. People are coming. I do present please, and by the way, I didn't do anything today because I had a long day in court today. It was I'm sorry. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to be on YouTube tonight. So if I skip during the day, I'm on here for an hour and a half tonight. So at least I get some grace. Not you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Eh? They bully you. They intimidate you. Eh? Every day, I get up and I plan my content and I put my content on Facebook. Put my content on YouTube. Put my content on TikTok. Present, please. Hey, by the way, I'm telling you, I had to print some t-shirts. I'm going to print 2 sets of t-shirts, and I'm going to tell me if all like the idea. I'm going to print 2 sets of t-shirts. I'm going to print some that say present, please, and I'm going to print some that say class dismissed. Right? I go buy them. Make sure I buy them. I make sure I buy them. Right. They attack. I post my content. People who looking for likes and relevance, taking my content and resharing it on their page to cost me. No, just make your own content responding to it. But you don't have to do it. And that's why you don't like me. Because I had that. Really, Sylvia? Whole evening? But Sylvia, I'm the same place every Thursday, YouTube. And tonight, Sylvia, I put it on Facebook, I put it on my personal page, and I put it on a plate. So I know, like, you're late to the party. Eh? You do have the brain to do it. I can do it, and others do it. I do a commentary on something that I think is important and that I want to share with Vincentians. You do a commentary. You do a commentary. You do a commentary too. But don't blame me if you don't have the bandwidth, the mental bandwidth to do that. But that's where the business come. That's where the business come. We in a situation where people can't talk. We're in a situation where people have to people are made to feel like they don't have the choice to vote who they want to. That in order to keep your work, you have to have voted for the NDP because you're then seen as anti-government and undermining the NDP. There is, if you notice, there has never been any proof of that. Never. There's, nobody's brought any proof of anybody undermining anybody, Nobody. They just talk about it. What do you mean undermine? Define undermine. What's undermine? What's undermine? Eh? What's undermine? Yes, sorry. What's undermine? Describe undermine. You want a all right, so you want a tank top. You want a tank top present, please. You put me in expenses where no problem. We go rock them. We go rock them. Comrades, listen. I am saying here categorically that the ministers in the New Democratic Party need to stop attacking public servants. I am saying categorically here, I'm saying without water in the mouth, that when you spew this type of rhetoric against public servants, you are uh, generating anger and resentment towards the people who make the public sector tick. But it's getting worse, and you should see it's getting worse because you should realize that there's one. Doug Howard is someone I know, but he's vile. He's vile. And I saw somebody sent me this post from Doug Howard. Put it up, again, please, the lady in the red t-shirt. Put it up, again, please, director. Somebody sent me this post from Doug Howard. And Doug, be careful. Because the person saw the post, and other people are seeing the post. Doug, be careful. It's a vile post. He puts up a post with a lady, puts up a picture of the lady on the post, and Doug writes above the post, "My friend Becky, Ricky Oden, do you know this pile of garbage?" That's what you're referring to a woman, somebody's mother, somebody's auntie, somebody's grandmother, as a pile of garbage. Doug, you are a vile human being. Stop it. I am not excusing your behavior. You can't pretend to be a decent human being on the one hand, but do this to people. You would not like anyone to do this to your mother, to your wife, or to your daughter. Doug Howard, stop it. He says, "My friend Ricky Oden, do you know this pile of garbage from Leyu?" And then he says this, "I am coming down there to face the pile of garbage face to face on Friday. That's the best day to deal with garbage." Now, to me, Doug, leave it up there, don't move it yet. To me, when you put up somebody's photograph and you refer to them and then you say you're coming down to deal with them, that to me, Doug, is a threat. Be careful with your threats. Because if you go to Leyu on Friday, which is tomorrow, like you promised now, those of you who might hear it on Star Radio, if you go to Leyu to deal with the lady who you refer to as a pile of garbage. There's clear intent there, and people have seen this. I'm sure this lady has children. I'm sure she has grandchildren. I'm sure she has relatives, Doug. And I interpret, I am coming down to deal with the pile of garbage as a I am interpreting that as a threat. If I am this lady and I sell at the waterfront, Doug, if I am this lady, for example, and I sell at the waterfront, Doug Howard, and I see you, well, first of all, I will go to the police station. And then if I see you come out of a car, or whatever, I am going to be prepared to defend myself because I know you're coming to deal with me. What does that mean? We have a business. We not have no business. But that's public. And in my view, you've issued a public threat against somebody. NDP dog. That's what they all have been doing since the election. You win the election, hello. You win. You win. Take the win. Love up your government. Make your government work. Instead, you're busy pouring bile and hate and venom at people. Stop it, man. But people following the lead of their leaders. People are following the lead. And you notice, he put up the lady in a Labour t-shirt. So clearly, it's political. Clearly, it's political. Doug doing it, Jeffrey doing it, and others are doing it too. They feel emboldened and empowered to do this thing publicly. They don't have to hide to do it. They don't have to be afraid of doing it because their party is in power. That's where we come in. That's where we come. That is where we've come. My comrades, I didn't realize you can't so late. So I give all you a nice long session tonight. Nice long session. But I had to bring the program to an end. And I thank you very much for sticking around. We had some good numbers tonight. I shared everywhere. We had some pretty good numbers tonight. I want to thank all of you for logging on. Those of you who shared it, thank you so much for sharing it and pushing it out there. Appreciate the love. And listen, keep supporting President, please. Every time you know something, Steve. I thought of that, and my director also recommended that. Why don't I put something on the front and something on the back? And I thought, but why put two things on one short when I could get two separate shorts? You know what I mean? So you could either buy Present Please or you could buy Class Dismissed. I don't think I want to put all of it on one. I want to give you some variety. And as a matter of fact, smart now. If you buy two, buy two. If you want it Present Please, you buy that. If you want Class Dismissed, you buy that. Yes, and yeah, I feel so. I feel so. But that's where we are. We're in a country where all of us work to develop as public servants, the private sector, whatever. We have a government now where the ministers feel that they must attack you because you didn't vote the party. And their supporters are threatening you and attacking you on Facebook, attacking you in the media for your thoughts and for your opinions. That's where we are. We gotta keep calling them out, eh? And comrades, listen, I ain't telling you to be paranoid, but be careful. Don't engage them. They say all manner of things about me on Facebook. I don't engage a soul. I don't engage a soul. I don't respond to them. So, well, as a matter of fact, a lot of the comments I don't even read them. I don't even read them because you came to my page. You came to engage with my content. So I don't care what you think about me. Whatever you think about me, it didn't stop you from coming to engage with my content. So I don't need to engage you in the same manner that you engage me. My principle is simple, you know. My position is simple. I see it and I walk past it. I see it and I walk past it. I disagree with it, I walk past it. I agree with it, I walk past it. I don't engage it. But these supporters of the NDP who are trigger happy with their fingers on the keyboard, they can't do that. No, man. They have to come after everybody. They have to come after everybody. And they are following the lead, the aggressive nature, the aggressive behavior, the disrespectful behavior of the leaders in parliament while in opposition, in government now, on the streets during protests. They are following the leaders of their party. That's where St. Vincent is. That's where St. Vincent is. But let me thank you guys so much again for tuning in, for being a part of tonight's program. Continue to support Uplift with Sehon Marshall. Continue to support Present Please. Continue to like and share. If you haven't subscribed to any of the channels yet, please subscribe to this YouTube or Facebook. I decided to do this tonight and split it, and it didn't work out too bad. So like and share it. Keep promoting, keep supporting. Don't forget, I believe sometime next week or week after next. Anyway, they'll come. They'll come. You get that later. So yeah, keep supporting, keep liking, keep sharing, subscribe. And those of you, one last time, Director, put up the Zelle number. You're watching the program and you want to send a contribution via Zelle. You're in North America, what have you, and you want to send the contribution via Zelle. You just go, you go in your Zelle app or what have you, and you use that number 347-941. Wait, I didn't check the WhatsApp to see if anybody messaged. 347-941-801 to my good friend Jeff had sent an information inquiring. Yes, Jeff, I don't know if you're watching, if you log on tonight, but if you are, this is the number that you can send your donations to if you feel so moved. No donation is too small, no donation is too large, but whatever you donate helps to keep this program and other programs on this platform going. Until next Thursday evening, on behalf of the director, all those of you who logged on, whether you logged on Facebook or on YouTube, thank you so much for being a part of tonight's program. And until next time, God bless.